about the preacher. It's okay. You have a theme? He said, no. He said, just say something good about the preacher. So I made a list of everything good I could think about the preacher. Seriously, folks, we do have a good preacher. And there's a reason why we're celebrating a 25-year anniversary. I'm going to give you a few statistics. 90% of all preachers say that the ministry is different than they had imagined it to be. 57% of all the preachers in the United States of America are unable to pay their bills. 54% of all preachers in America see that their job is overwhelming. 70% have a lower self-image than when they first started in the ministry. 70% do not have someone they consider to be a close friend, someone that they can confide in. 80% say that their job has a negative impact on their family. 65% say that their family lives in a glass house in fear that they are not good enough to meet expectations. Last year, 2017, approximately 1,500 pastors left the ministry every month. The average tenure, and it depends on which sources you look at, varies somewhere between 2 and 5 years for a preacher. I should give you an insight into the preacher's life, but you know what? It should also give us an insight to the congregation. We're supposed to be the most kind and loving people on the face of the planet because we're Christians, and this is how our pastors feel. This is just a small snippet of the statistics. There's about 150 more of them. So when you have a preacher at your church that's celebrating 25 years, that's something pretty important.
Amen.
That's special.
Right.
Now, come up with a list of qualifications for a preacher. Let's see if Brother Davis fits the bill. If you'll turn your Bibles to page 1888. 1 Timothy chapter 3. This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God? Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride he fall into condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must have a good report with them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. Now you will find similar but not identical lists in 1 Timothy and Titus. Living a life above reproach is the first requirement of both lists. The other items on the list explain what above reproach means. If we peruse these two lists, as well as 1 Peter, we find 17 qualifications for a preacher who is above reproach. Number 1, a pastor must be devoted to his wife, a one-woman man. The pastor's marriage illustrates Christ's love for his church, his bride. A pastor must love his wife exclusively with his mind, will, and emotions. You can pay me later for that, Michelle. Number 2, a pastor's children must be in submission, though not perfect. Because you know your kids aren't perfect either.
Right.
If a man does not know how to manage his own family, he will not know how to take care of God's church. The first flock for a pastor is his own family, his pastor dad. A pastor's qualification for the church starts in his home management as he leads them up in the discipline and admonition of the Lord. Number 3, a pastor is a faithful steward. The term used is overseer. It is not another office, but a functional title of the elder It is what he does. He is a steward, a manager of God's resources and of Jesus' flock. He takes responsibility, but not ownership. 4, a pastor must be humble, not arrogant. A pastor must consistently demonstrate the gospel by admitting when he is wrong, which in our case is never, but other pastors have got to do that, okay? Number 5, a pastor must be gentle, not quick-tempered. No man will be of any use in the kingdom if he is quick-tempered. Number 6, a pastor must be sober, not a drunkard. This is not just the overindulgence in alcohol, but any behavior that fuels addictive responses. 7, a pastor must be peaceful, not violent. He is to be a peacemaker. 8, a pastor must have financial integrity, not greedy for gain. A pastor is to be upright in his financial dealings and not accused of pursuing money over the kingdom of God. That does not mean a pastor cannot have wealth. If you go to 1 Timothy 5:17, it says he's supposed to have a double portion. Okay? Don't be stingy when it comes to a man of God. He's out there doing God's work. There's nothing in the Bible that says he can't have a little bit of wealth. I think we have this belief in America that a preacher ought to be broke. It's not true. We ought to love him. 9, a pastor must be hospitable. A pastor's home is to be open for others to enjoy. A pastor's home is not heaven on earth, but it's a place of ministry. 10, a pastor must be a lover of good. A pastor genuinely loves what is good. He does not just think he should love it. We have a phrase in society nowadays, fake it till you make it. It's not applicable to a man of God. It's got to be in your heart. Amen. Men are called to the ministry by God. It's not a fake it till you make it. You've got to love it, live it. It's got to be in your heart. 11, a pastor must be self-controlled. Self-control is a characterization of every area of a pastor's life. Now this verse is a little different. If you go to Arabic, to Hebrew, to Greek, to English, there's something lost in there. If you study the shadows of the Greek, there's a portion of that verse that got dropped off about Bluebell ice cream. That does not apply to Bluebell ice cream. Okay? Just saying. Number 12, a pastor must be upright in his integrity, in his relationship, and how he is to treat others. 13, a pastor must be holy. His life is devoted wholeheartedly to Jesus, externally and internally. 14, a pastor must be able to teach. Now, all the other requirements and qualifications are character qualities. This is the only ability-based requirement. He is to be able to teach sound doctrine, not just be able to communicate in an excellent manner. His teaching can be 1 to 2 to 20, 100, 1,000. It doesn't matter. Most of the churches in Crete were house churches. The elders were there to defend the faith once delivered to the saints against the numerous false teachers. 15, a pastor must be spiritually mature. Positions of authority without spiritual maturity lead to the trap of pride. When pride grows in a man, sin abounds. 16, a pastor must be respectable. That does not mean that everyone must like him or even appreciate him, but we all do. It means that there is no credible witness to an ongoing sinful behavior. Notice ongoing. It does not say sinful, ongoing sinful. Preachers are just like the rest of us. They have good days, they have bad days. You heard Eddie say, when they go out there and they're trying to lead people to Christ, some people don't want it. They reject it. He gets sad. He loses a little bit of his pep in his step. They have the same emotions we do. 17, a pastor must be an example to the flock. Preachers are an example of biblical expressions of time management, marriage, parenting, worship, relationships, and any and every other way. A pastor should be someone your sons could pattern their life after, and a kind of man your daughter should marry. I got 2 daughters. I'm still thinking about that one. I do believe that Brother Davis, that achieves these qualifications with distinction and honor.
Amen.
And if you agree with me, please give him a round of applause. I pray that God blesses us. You know, Hezekiah got 15 years, Brother Davis. I think I'm going to pray for another 25 for you. I really do. Hey, let's break Social Security. Let's make them pay for it for a while. Our next speaker will be Miss Amy Martin.